So I'm going to say good afternoon to Princess Campbell and Gavin, my son Gavin. My son Gavin and wife just have a chat about their lives and this my grandson Trayvan. So hello, folks.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, good. We're not going to talk about any Wolves and Villa match yesterday because that's like a little bit of a sacrilege, and we're not.
I think we should talk about it because it was a really good match.
Oh, really? Oh, really? It depends on from whose opinion you're talking. So anyway, enough of that. Yeah, we're going to talk about, the main topic is about Trayvan and of course your guys, you know, your life involvement and all that, bring them up. So I'm going to put it over to you then to actually start with wherever you want to start, really, and then we'll just carry on for about an hour. How about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Where did Trayvan start?
When he was born in the hospital in Leicester.
In Leicester.
And right. you were there, weren't you?
Actually, I remember. Yeah.
Father was there, yeah.
Well, yeah, because the only reason I was missing at the time is because I left there and did a job to Heathrow Airport and came straight back.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He was there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You saw me in all that pain.
Yeah, you was in Leicester.
Absolutely. And if I could have helped you at that time, I would have done. But you know, it's one of those things. So yeah, I can remember that very, very vividly. And are we talking what, 8 years ago already?
Yeah.
Wow. So what's happened since?
Okay. Wow. He was born. We were still living in Leicester, and life just happened, really. He went through quite a rough start as a baby. He had a lot of health issues.
Oh,
he
yeah.
wasn't very well for the first 3 years of his life. He had eczema from head to toe. He was in a lot of pain. Wow. I don't know if you can remember that.
Yes.
He was in agony. But being the strong boy he is, he always smiled through it. And we managed to heal him naturally because I'm a advocate of natural healing. We did go down the GP route, but that didn't work. And that led me to heal him naturally with herbs and lotions, and we had to heal him from the inside out. And
to be honest, sorry, as a parent, you don't really expect to have to go down that road, do you, with your child? You know, it's just thrown into your lap, isn't it?
It is. It was an eye opener to be, you know, when I heard from the top dermatologist in the GP that I would never heal him without using harsh steroid cream. That was the push for me.
Okay.
That was me saying, I'll prove you wrong, and I sure did.
All right. Well done on that. Well done. Because
it was hard. It was a very hard, long journey. I had to educate myself on everything natural, herbal. I even went back to college to do homeopathy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
excellent.
If you look,
is that the main reason why you went back to college, because of the condition of Trayvan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite something.
We stopped eating. We turned plant-based because dairy affected him. So I got rid of the dairy. Then with my researching foods and how it affects the body, we got rid of the meat. We just went plant-based. So Trayvan was the pivot for all of that. We started to use clean water. We couldn't use chemicals in the house. We had to wash his clothes with certain things that didn't have any chemicals in, because anything would irritate his skin, and he was in enough pain as it is. And seeing your child in pain 24/7, and the only respite he had was when he was sleeping, and he could only sleep for like 20 minutes to an hour at a time, and without, then waking up in pain again.
That must have been quite draining on you as parents too, because it's virtually 24/7 looking after him in that case, isn't it? Because in most cases you get a respite through the night for about, say, 4 hours or something like that, or whatever.
No, I had no
Every
response.
20 minutes.
I was breastfeeding as well, so his
Right.
his comfort was breastfeeding. So it was all through the
Okay.
day, all through the night, and that had
Wow.
health issues
Yeah.
he as well.
Yeah.
But
So
it was worth
you
it.
must have been very tired then a lot of times.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you do as a parent now. You have to sacrifice.
And did you have to be very careful what you ate then, because you're breastfeeding?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why I changed my diet. I stopped eating nuts, dairy, meat, and then Gavin joined me. I don't think straight away, did you?
Yeah,
Was it straight away?
yeah,
he joined me.
He eats what we eat, so I had to change.
Yeah.
yeah.
And obviously, because Trayvan then gets to an age where he eats solid foods, because he also has a nut allergy, or had a nut. Well, yeah, he still kind of has it, but it's not as bad now. So we even had to heal that. So now,
So did you actually send off to do test?
yeah, he had to go to the hospital and do tests to see what he was allergic to, because he had an anaphylactic attack.
All right.
Yeah, so they sent him to the hospital and he had all the tests and stuff. So we knew what he was allergic to.
Is he still allergic to most of these things, or has he grown out of some of them, or what?
We are not risking it. With the nuts, we have healed him to a sufficient amount where if he has it, he doesn't have the same reaction that he did at the beginning. At the beginning, he would swell up. He'd have to go to the hospital and he has an EpiPen. Whereas now, if he has it, he might get a mild itch, and that's it.
That's good. So we're hoping then going forward that hopefully he'll grow out of most of these sort of. Hello, young man.
Hi.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good.
I've already warned mommy and daddy no mention about wolves yesterday. All right.
Wait,
Yes.
are you wearing a Venator?
Well, I mean, I didn't want to say anything.
I didn't even notice, Trayvan. Don't put your wolves top on.
I'm not saying it was deliberate or anything.
Yes, Grandad. Grandad did that on purpose, Trayvan.
Well spotted. Yeah. And if you look directly behind my shoulder, that side, maybe you can see a scarf or two. One is the Villa scarf and the other one is the Reggae Boys scarf, the Jamaican Reggae Boys team scarf.
Okay.
Strategically placed there for when I'm talking to people. Yeah. So it's great because sometimes people are hit with certain things and they don't. Sometimes people are hit with certain things, they don't know how to cope with it. And by the sound of it, you guys done tremendously well to get to where you are now. And yeah. So going on from there then, there he is, age 8. What's happened since the 3-year point when you sort of, got to a point where things were getting better? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, 1 sec.
Okay.
Just shifting around.
All right, yeah, that's better. Yeah. So you got to the 3-year points and things changed somewhat, did it, in terms of health? Got better?
Yeah, from the age of 3, he started to, his eczema was pretty much 99% gone.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the other issues were gone as well, because he had a lot of swollen lymph nodes as well, which
right.
good as well.
That's good. And then he started to become a really active boy. Yeah. Kicking football around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was already active, to be honest with you. He was always active all the way through.
Yeah, even though he was going through it,
he was never not active. I remember him being, I think it was like 9 or 10 months. kicking football in the house. And
9 or 10 months.
yeah.
As soon as he could walk.
As soon as he learned to walk, he would position the football carefully on the floor, and he would make sure the ball wouldn't move. Then he would go backwards and he would hit the ball. It had to be in the right position, in the right place. If it wasn't in the right place, he wouldn't kick it. You know, so that was before he was one year old.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was a sign then, wasn't it? Really? Yeah. So did you guys go to nursery with him, take him to nurseries and all that sort of thing? Or
No. So to be honest, we always knew that homeschooling was the best option. My personal belief is that I just know that I could teach him to a certain level myself. And whatever that level would be higher than what he'd get at school. That's just what I believe I could do. You know.
So he's never gone to any school at all.
No. He's always been homeschooled.
Okay. So at what stage did you decide then, you know, this is definitely, I mean, because we all grow up, we've all gone to school, you both went to normal school. So what was the trigger point to say we're going to do this homeschooling?
Well, Pharrell was homeschooled. So
I see.
Homeschooled from the age of 8, actually. So he was this age when I started homeschooling him. And from we started that and started to learn about the school system, how Black boys have failed a lot in the school system.
So that was a trigger point then, was it? Because I mean, you mentioned
I was pregnant with Trayvan when all of it happened with Pharrell. He was 8, he couldn't read. The teachers were saying he was what's the word? Distractive in the class. I would talk to Pharrell. Pharrell was struggling. He had disabilities as far as learning was concerned, and I knew that because when he was a baby, he had anaphylactic shock, which would have affected his mental. But when I brought it up with the school, their response was, "Oh, no one in the class can read or do anything like that, so it's fine." They just
at 8 and no one could read.
Yeah, the whole class, which I thought was, you know, I didn't quite believe that, and if that was the truth, I just definitely didn't want him in that school. So I was already thinking about homeschooling. I don't really know why, but it was something that was on my heart. And once I knew the school just wanted to label him as a bad child, I was like, okay, we need to get him out of school. So I prayed and I said to God, there's a school right next to the house, which is a really good school. If he gets into this school, then fine. If you want us to homeschool him and that's the best option, don't let him get into the school. He didn't get into the school, and that's how the journey started.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So and that's. I'm just wondering how many other moms and dads have actually encountered that situation, and it'd be interesting. I was the same. I was the same. I had no. If you think about the Jamaican generation, say your generation of parents, I don't know what yours was like, but my mum had very low education. She could barely read or write. My dad was okay, but they weren't great. So us growing up as kids, we only could rely on the school. We didn't get help with homework, anything like that. So one of my sisters was very intelligent, and the school recognized that, and they praised her and they helped her. Me and my other sister, on the other hand, we were just left. We had no help. So we didn't come out. I mean, back then you passed your GCSEs if you got a grade above E, innit? Whereas you can't do that now. So we were happy to come out with GCSEs, but we didn't get what we needed to get. So it goes far back. And if you look at the research with schools as well, the way that they teach kids is more for factory workers. The school system hasn't changed since they did the model of it back in the 30s or whatever it was, when it was designed for kids to be prepped to go into factory work and all of that kind of stuff. They haven't changed the system, yet the world has changed. Right. I wanna pause a little while there, because there's a background noise coming up in
from you. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's when you talk, but I can hear a background noise.
I can't change it. It's the laptop.
So again,
Yeah, you just take the noise out.
can you hear? If you can hear the noise, then that's fine. Yeah. So you mentioned, you asked a question saying that you didn't know what it was like for. You mentioned Jamaica, and then I suppose at the same time you meant Caribbean.
Yeah.
Black people.
Yeah.
I can tell you that as I do interviews with as a part of this Forgotten Generations, it's one of the things that come up a lot of times because I experienced it. When I came to this country, and a lot of youngsters say the same thing, we were like 1, 2, sometimes 3 years ahead of the kids in this class, in the classes here.
Really?
Almost every time, right?
Yeah, because the Jamaican education system is way better than the system.
Right. You find also people take their children that were born here back to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, you may have had some people that fell in, and that's life, where they couldn't actually read and write, so they couldn't help the youngsters. Yeah, but I can tell you from my experience all those years ago that when I came here, I couldn't believe it. Like the kids, I was way ahead of the kids here.
Yeah, that's most people's experience coming from Jamaica.
How old were you when you came over?
I was 13.
Yeah, so my mum was a lot younger, and her parents had left Jamaica a while before she came to Jamaica, and she was neglected while she was over there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I do understand that because I've also had those personal stories told to me where people, and this is one of the reasons I started this Forgotten Generations, because when you get left behind in whichever part of the Caribbean you're from, in our case, Jamaica or Africa or wherever, what happened next is the question. As a youngster, because you're either stopping with your grandma, granddad, auntie, uncle, whatever. Now, the experience from the interviews I've carried out are very, very varied. Some kids were taken out of school at a young age and put into the farm to work, so they missed out on their schooling. Whereas others didn't want to come to England to join their parents because they had the best time with whoever they were with. So it varied quite a bit. Yeah. So, but the theme is that almost everybody you speak to when they come across here as a school on a school age basis are ahead of the kids here in the same class, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, the people I know said that, but they also said that they start a lot earlier in Jamaica. They start teaching them a year or two earlier than they do in England. So kids will be learning to read at 4, write at 4.
Yeah.
Over here, they're starting to read at 5.5 or 6.
Yeah. That's why I was quite surprised when you said the teacher at 80 years old. I mean, from I was 3, 4, I was like reading book, you know, and I wanted to read more and more and more because I just found it fascinating. So, I mean, kids are being left way behind if they get to 8 and not really, but it's not unusual because even some adults are not, you know. But anyway, yeah. So going forward then, you decided firmly that you're going to do homeschooling, yeah?
Yeah, so we homeschooled for Rao, so that was the basis of kind of the whole homeschooling situation. We decided that we wanted to teach him maths and English, but then everything else is what he loves to do.
Right. So how do you, a lot of people don't know about this homeschooling. So in terms of you teaching, right, how does that fall in line with, say, a qualified teacher in a school teaching? I mean, I don't know how that works with the homeschooling. Do you get programs from somewhere to say this is what you should teach as a homeschooler, or what? How does that work?
No. A lot of parents don't realize that you are the sole teacher for your child, which is why you can decide to teach your child. Obviously, in an organization and a business like a school, just like any other job, they want you to be qualified. But as a parent, you have the right to teach your child. You don't have to have qualifications, and you don't have to follow the curriculum either.
Okay.
As long as you're teaching your child, you have to teach them like the basics to read, to write, and you have to teach them for certain hours per week. Then you can pretty much do what you want.
So are there guidelines then? Are there guidelines then to say that you've got to teach for so many hours a week?
Yeah.
And the teacher. So those guidelines are there.
Yeah.
So, and you've got to teach maths and English as the basics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Trayvan has never experienced going to a school then. It's always been homeschool.
Yeah.
So it's something that he has never met. He won't miss because, you know. So I can't ask him the question. What's the difference between homeschooling and normal schooling?
You can't ask Trayvan that, no, because he wouldn't know.
Wow.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Do you want to go to school? Speak, Trayvan.
Well,
people are going to see this.
No.
Well, does he know what schooling is all about though? Because I mean, you know, normally the answer to that would be able to compare, to give an answer. Does he know what normal schooling is about in reality?
Do you know what school? What happens at school?
Well, they don't really teach kids good stuff. They at very like that 3, 4, 5, up to 8, I would say. They just teach very easy stuff.
Very easy stuff. So does mom and dad give you some real tough stuff to do then? Do they? Oh.
Word have sums.
Pardon?
Very hard sums.
Really?
Like the sums are very big. They're sometimes hard. And the reading is sometimes hard as well.
So what's your best between reading and sums? Which do you prefer?
I prefer reading.
Oh, do you? Right. Have you ever read a favorite story, a book or something? Yeah. And what's that book called?
I don't think I have actually.
What's your favorite thing to read?
Pardon?
What's your favorite thing to read? What do you read about mostly in your schooling?
I read about LeBron James.
Who else? Come on, who else do you
I read about Rashford.
About what?
I read about Rashford as well.
Can you name everyone you read about?
Sterling.
Oh, I see. These are footballers.
So
what do you read? Where do you find those things to read? Or what's it in? Is it in a book? What's it in?
So these players are in magazines, and there's people that cook, there's people that play football, there's people that race cars.
Okay, so what magazines are they?
What's it called?
Football magazines.
It's a football magazine.
Yeah.
What's it called, Trayvan? Do you know?
No, the Rashford.
What's it called?
Coco magazine.
What's it called?
We Get Cocoa Boy. So it's a black magazine.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
The woman's from Birmingham, I think. Yeah, she's from Birmingham. London, sorry. She started a magazine for black boys and black girls. And Trayvan was actually featured in one of the first magazines. She did a feature on him about his football. But
so have you still got that magazine then?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got quite a few. It's got educational things in there that he can do. It talks about Africa. It's talks about famous Black people.
It's all about positive Black culture.
Yeah.
So the idea is to empower young Black boys and girls by publishing articles on prominent Black figures. So that could be anyone from politics to education, inventors, doctors, sports. So what they do, they feature prominent leaders in the world, and they also, at the same time, they feature children who are doing great things in the UK, because it's based in London. So yeah, so they have role models. So for example, they might have a page and they teach kids about the different words and what it means to be a role model, and then you have to learn each word, and then you do affirmations, and then it tells the kids to speak to themselves and tell them who they are, and then there will be maths questions in there, and then there'll be an experiment where you have to do a science experiment. Then they'll talk about Africa, and each edition will focus on a different part of Africa, whether it's Kenya, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and you'll read about Africa. And then we'll talk about the Caribbean, and then the volcano in St. Vincent. Then they'll talk about maybe Lewis Hamilton, there's a prominent F1 racing driver. Then there'll be the fashion designer, Oswald Boateng from London. And so this is just one
magazine.
One magazine, and
that's just one magazine.
Yeah, this is just one edition. Then there'll be a kid who wants to be an F1 driver in relation to Lewis Hamilton.
Right.
For example, this edition here, you've got Marcus Rashford, but not from the point of view of just being a footballer. It's from the point of view as him as a role model, and what is he doing for the community. He's got a book. And,
because he's got a lot to do with looking after the children without food, isn't it?
Yeah. So it talks about Black people from a holistic point of view, and then you've got the science section where it focuses on Black people, Black kids being great at science, and
this is really good and very positive.
That's fantastic. How did you get in contact with this particular? Is it a company?
It's a woman. It's an individual.
I saw her on Instagram basically when she first started, and I sent her an email and asked her about if she would like to have Trayvan feature in the magazine. And she called me up and we had a really good conversation, and what was supposed to be like a small article ended up to be a 2-page article. We subscribed to the magazine. I love, she's got so big. I think they've got a cartoon out now.
So
talking about subscription then, how often does the magazine come out?
Monthly.
Monthly, yeah.
Monthly, wow.
You can find it. They had it in Sainsbury's.
Yeah, they sell it in Sainsbury's.
Some large chains like some Tesco and Sainsbury's around the country.
Yeah.
Because I would like to link her to the Forgotten Generations.
Yeah, you can contact her. Her name, what's her name? Sabrina is her name is. But you can go on Instagram onto Coco Boy, and contact her through there.
I will, definitely, because that links with a lot of historic things that Caribbeans and Africans have contributed to Britain.
Well, that's what she focuses on.
And a lot of that is on my website, going back from way back.
She's got in this edition. This is all about sport. This edition, but she's featured the first female Black footballer, and then she's featured the first male Black footballer that I wasn't aware of back in the 1800s. And
what is his name?
Arthur Wharton is the first Black male footballer, 1865, and then Emma Clark, first Black female footballer, 1876.
Yes, and I think I have an article or a link about at least one of those on my website, under the sporting page. So that would be great to link up, and that's a fantastic. I don't know how much that's promulgated, that what she's doing there, how wide it is, because until I've spoken to you now, I've never heard of it. And I think that should be widely promoted.
It is. She was on this morning. She's on this morning. Yeah. But I guess if you don't have kids, maybe you wouldn't.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this morning,
been on TV a lot. So
Good Morning Britain. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, she's been on there.
But she's in chain stores around the country, so it's out there. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a small thing. It's not a small thing.
And she started it during lockdown.
Yeah.
But
Oh, really? So it's a recent thing then?
Yeah.
It's she did it for her daughter because she wanted a black magazine for it. It started off with just Coco Girl. It was for her daughter because there was no magazines for her daughter, and she works for magazine companies, and she wanted to.
Yeah. So yeah, that's brilliant. I really, really like that, and I think that we must.
She's an amazing woman. She really is.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I think I did see something of it, but you know, it's like you say, if you don't have children, then they don't necessarily zoom in on it.
Yeah.
You know, but what you just showed me now, the cross section of topics.
So we like to teach stuff that will impact him in the way he feels about himself, his confidence. We want him to be proud of his culture, his color, who he is. We want everything to be positive. So everything that we teach him is something that he loves, is engaging, and that will uplift him in his life.
And he can see role models ahead of him.
We never saw that growing up, so we definitely want that for him.
So the idea is that I got a course from a memory expert called Jim Quick. He's an Oriental guy in America, and he teaches a lot of well-known people how to read and how to increase their memory. I called him and asked him to do it. And basically, he said that he learned to read not from traditional textbooks. He didn't learn to read from the curriculum. He became a master reader from reading comics and material that was related to stuff that he was interested in. And he basically said that if you read or learn about something that is of interest to you, the neurons in the brain will form a stronger connection. If you read something that you're forced to read that's not in relation to what you care about, the neurons have a weaker connection.
Yes.
The articles that we're reading about here are related to, I don't know, whether it's food, sport, education, whatever, or Africa. He has an interest in those things.
Yes.
So the words that he's learning to read, he'll learn it quicker because it's of interest to him. So the articles here are designed for the parent to read to the child, but I get him to read the articles to me. The words in here were probably, 12, 13, 14-year-old literature, to be honest with you. It's not really good.
How is he coping with those words at the moment?
I read it fine.
He reads it fluently.
But the reason why he reads it fluently, again, is because of the interest, and number two, because we repetitively read the articles over. We read it enough times for him to get the gist of it. Not that one. It's the magazine reviewing it.
So as an outsider, then, how many hours do you say that you do per day?
I'd say we probably do an hour and a half to two straight through. We don't really have breaks. Every day,
and we don't stop for holidays.
We do it straight through. So rather than me do half an hour of this and 10 minutes that, we just do it straight through. That's just my style of teaching, and that isn't based off.
What did he say? Hour and a half?
Hour and a half to 2 hours straight through. So we just do straight, whether it's maths, English, geography, we do it straight through, and then we go and do other stuff, rather than break up into bits and say, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes. I just do it straight through.
So what do you do, one subject per day then?
No. Whatever it is that we do it together, and we do it straight through.
All right.
Without a break. That's just my style of teaching.
Okay.
And the style that I adopt is based off of Jim Quick's idea of, in the East, rather than sit there and do 8 hours of work and tire your brain, do less work, more concentrated, and repeat it enough times. So the East philosophy is, if you do something for 2 minutes every day, you'll master it. Rather than do for 8 hours of 10 things, do 2 minutes of 1 or 2 things and you'll master it. In other words, do less, but concentrate it and repeat it every day. Then you become a master of it. That's like math. So we'll do the same sums every day until he gets fluent at it, rather than do it once a week and different types of sums. It'll take him longer to grasp the concept. We'll do the same multiplications every day until it becomes fluent. When it becomes fluent or subconscious, then I'll move on to doing the divisions or the additions. So that's how I teach him. It's based off Jim Quick's principle of, you stick at it until you get fluent at it. Don't stop until you're fluent. the brain will get used to it regardless of what it is. So when we read these articles with these big lofty words in there, it becomes nothing after 3 or 4 days because he's done it repetitively for 3 or 4 days.
And he's been
Well,
reading since, we were reading to him as a baby every day. And then as soon as he was like 3, 4, we started to teach him. So he was learning from day one, because we were
Right.
homeschoolers anyway. As we're teaching Pharrell, we were incorporating learning for him even as a baby, because that's one thing I learned, that you should be teaching your child from day one. And
Yes.
we don't have breaks. We don't say, oh, because it's the weekend, you're not going to learn. And because it's school holidays, you're not going to learn. He learns every single day, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so important, you know, when parents take an interest in their children, there is a marked difference between those who do and those who don't.
Well, the reason why I was adamant that we don't stop, that's coming from when I was at school. When I was at school, I noticed that there was a lot of kids who in the holidays, they just kept doing work all the way through. They were always ahead of the kids who had 6-week break and didn't do anything.
Right.
Yeah. So I always, in my head, I thought, if you just keep doing it all the way through, it's going to be second nature. And if you have a long break, we all tend to forget things, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's sport, whether it's education.
Absolutely.
You have a long break, your fitness goes down, you've forgotten the formulas and the sums. So my idea is just keep doing a little bit each day rather than doing a lot and having a break. Just do little bits each day. And I find for me and him, it becomes a lot more natural because you just do a little bit each day.
I'll tell you what you've done is that you've educated Grandad here in the homeschooling sort of life, because I've heard about it, but I didn't know anything about it really.
They did some statistics on Black kids in schools versus Black kids that are homeschooled, and the statistics came back that Black children that are homeschooled are progressing higher levels of results in education than those that are in school. So that's good.
And what about statistics overall? Have you got anything on that, or you didn't look at that sort of thing?
I think it's the same.
No, the stats are higher for homeschool
For
kids.
homeschooling, the stats
overall,
overall,
regardless of color or culture, homeschool kids generally perform better because it's more concentrated.
And they take their exams a lot younger.
Yeah.
Kids in the homeschool world are taking their GCSEs from the age of 9 to 13.
Yeah.
Because you can choose when to sit your child for an exam, whereas when you're in the school system, you have to go through their way. Like Pharrell, he's entered college at the age of 14. So he had 2 diplomas before he even hit 16 years old.
Really?
You never get that in a school.
Wow, that's excellent.
Unless you're, a bad child.
Superb. This has been very, very interesting listening to all of this, because there'll be people listening to this and being educated into something different that, they just maybe have heard of before or questioned before, didn't know anything about it. So just going on from homeschooling then, we talk about Trayvan kicking a ball from he was like able to stand up. So how's he doing these days, and where's he got to?
Well, when I realized that he had potential in the way he would kick the ball, and I think it stemmed from him, the TV, when he was really young, in the early stages, like when he was really young, 2014, I think the World Cup was on. So he would have been like, in his first year, he was seeing us watch the World Cup. I think the emotion and the energy of us watching the World Cup, it affected him. And I think from there, he always had an interest in football. It's just the way, everyone's focused on the World Cup, and I think that had a big impact on him. And I would just always just teach him to pass the ball. No, nothing else. Just pass the ball for a good year and a half. All we would do is just pass the ball straight and pass it back, pass it straight and pass it. That's all it was based on. It was only when he hit 4.5 years old, I decided to go to the park and get the cones and actually teach him to play football. But before that, it was just literally learn to accurately pass the ball with top of your foot, side of your foot. Then we'd start to
Yeah.
from 4.5.
And he went to an academy. He went to a grassroots near our house. But that didn't. We didn't like that. It was one of the ones that Pharrell went to because Pharrell was into football as well.
Okay.
But it was a different coach, and he didn't really like it. He was ahead of all the kids as far as like his technique with football.
Okay.
We didn't like that one. And then I was out one day and I bumped into this black guy with locks, and he had a little boy with him in a kit. And someone just said to me, just say something to him. So I went up to him and said, "Oh, I like your kit," to the little boy. And the guy said, "Oh, I train my football coach." I was like, "Oh, we're looking for one." And he said, "Yeah, bring him down." So I told Gavin, and they ended up going to the actual football place, and he liked him that much and saw the level that Trayvan was at.
Right.
That he asked Gavin who trains him. And
Right.
Gavin, he trains him. So then he wanted Gavin to be a coach. And
Oh,
so
right.
being the coach of that team, and he was training Trayvan as well as the team and all of that. Yeah.
Wow. So that started about 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. I started to train him.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you know, I just got the cones and I got all the equipment. Went on YouTube, started to research it, and then I just decided to just take him to the local pitch.
Yeah.
They had really good facilities. They got 3G pitches you can go on for free with floodlights, and I just went on. And I remember there was a team there training, and I just asked to go in the corner, and they said, "Yeah, feel free to go and train in the corner." So I just started to train him myself, got going around the cones and stuff. And then when he joined his official grassroots team, which is a team called the Caribs, short for Caribbean.
Oh, yeah.
Short for the Caribbeans, that's where it comes from, Caribs.
So that was his first ever team, the Caribs.
Yeah, his first team was called the Caribs in Leicester in Victoria Park. So
and he had, was it Jamaican? It was Jamaican colours, wasn't it?
No, it's the Caribbean colours.
Caribbean.
Basically, you know what you've got on the Forgotten Generations, where you got all the Caribbean flags.
Yeah.
His logo incorporates all the Caribbean flags.
Oh, okay.
And people thought that we're related because we've got the same hairstyle, because we've all got locks. Because his son got locks as well, so they thought
All right. Okay.
Yeah, the guy Pupsy. So he when he saw his ability and he saw that I was training him, he got me in as a side coach. So I would help out the team for the first season, and the second season he got me to run the team. Did that for up until COVID. So it was more like family, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's good.
More like family, and he had a good experience because he put him a year up straight away. So he played with the older kids from the get go. He didn't play with his own age group.
Oh.
That helped him a lot develop and get confidence.
Right.
And then he got referred.
Yeah. So what happened was the coach the main coach for his team, he didn't tell us, but he's actually a scout for Leicester. The Leicester scout. But he didn't tell the parents because I know parents change their behaviours based on.
Yes.
But he actually referred him to Coventry City, not Leicester, because he always felt that everywhere but Leicester was a better fit for him. He didn't think that Leicester was the best place for him. He referred him to the Coventry Academy because the guy who had just left Leicester went to work for Coventry.
Oh, I see.
Right. He was good friends with him. Yeah. So rather than sending us to Leicester, he said, go to Coventry and they'll look after you. So he went straight in. On the week of his 6th birthday, he started at Coventry City. The week of his 6th birthday.
Wow.
So he started going there, but I was videoing him the whole time.
Yes.
With the intention of at some point using that footage to get him into it,
Yes. I remember you sending some footage around.
Yeah, I made a short video based off just training video, and I had that footage, but I didn't use it initially. But because I didn't even know they had academy for his age. I didn't know they dealt with 6-year-olds. I thought they dealt with him from 8, 9, which is when they actually signed. So when he got him into Coventry, I thought, okay, I'm going to use the video now and send it out. So I went onto LinkedIn and got a premium account for a month because you get a free account for a month.
Okay.
Yeah. And you got to pay 30 quid a month after that. So in that 4-week period, I typed in like lead academy coaches for a pre-academy. And basically, LinkedIn will show you everybody. You can find anyone in the world in a professional man on LinkedIn if you type in the right keyword.
Okay.
So I find all the coaches for Nottingham Forest, Derby, all the academies locally, and I sent them the videos, but not the scouts. I sent the coaches, the lead coach, the video, because I didn't want to go through a scout. I wanted to go to the head guy.
Yes.
That was the idea, because I know how it is in the scout world. They can take 6 months to get back to you. So I said,
and LinkedIn provided you that information.
Yeah, the direct guy, the head of every age group, they're all on LinkedIn. So I emailed those guys on LinkedIn, and every single one of them within 5 days said, bring him straight in. Some of them thought he was a year older. They said, oh, is he under 7s? I don't know, he's under 6s. Yeah, bring him straight in. And I brought him into Nottingham Forest. I remember the first day that I brought him into Forest, the coach said, yeah, we're going to throw you in for the year above, see how you get on. So on his first training session, he plays for the year above for Forest. So his first official game for academy was actually at Nottingham Forest for the year above. And then he did really well in his first game, and the parents thought he was, the same age as the kids in the year above. So that was a good experience. And then he went to Derby, and then he went to Wolverhampton Wanderers scout who lives in Leicester saw him on Facebook on the Caribs website.
All right.
And then so that's just Trayvan showing us the Wolf flag. So showing us the better flag now. So. he's just putting on his Wolves kit because we're gonna go training in a bit. But yeah.
All right. Okay.
But yeah. All of the academies, they just come straight in, no scouts involved. Basically, the idea was to cut the middleman out. Go straight into the coach. If the lead coach says he's good enough, he's going straight in. There's no waiting. So we were going to 5 academies. So it was like Monday we go to one, Tuesday another, Wednesday, Thursday. Every day was a different academy. Did that for about a year, just to get experience and find out what he was like.
That was quite an experience, isn't it? Sort of traveling to and from Nottingham Forest, Derby, Coventry, Bulls, and all that sort of thing.
It was a good experience because I wanted to see like different methods, different coaching style, different environments.
Which kind of took me back a little bit, because when you guys were young, you and your brother, I used to drive you guys all over the country doing athletics, up and down Essex and Birmingham and all the different places. So yeah, I kind of understand that. Yeah.
So I was driving them all over the place, and when we were invited to come in to Wolverhampton Wanderers, they were the most impressive because they gave us a professional tour of the training ground. They were by far the most professional. Me and Tina got a proper tour, and there were 4 coaches with us when they were giving us the tour.
The head, head guys.
Yeah, there was 4 of them there. We're just 4 of them. I remember there was 4 of them there. So they seemed really dedicated and really. And to be honest, I was a bit taken back. I was like, he's only 6 years old. Like, what's the fuck? Like, it was really professional.
Yeah.
It was like he was 16 and he was gonna sign a big contract. That's how they treated us.
Yeah.
Right.
Thinking, wow, like we've come all the way from Leicester, hour and a half, and you're treating us like
showed us everything: the gym, the education,
the computer room.
So you guys must have felt really good about that.
Yeah, they made us feel really special.
Really special.
Whereas the other academies, you just showed up like it was a grassroots thing. You just showed up, went in the dome, played, and went home. It was no.
No conversation.
Yeah.
So at that point, then, how did Trayvan take this, or was he like a bit too young to actually understand and get?
How did you feel, Trayvan? Can you remember
when you first went to Wolves?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
No. Okay.
I think Trayvan's quite humble anyway. Trayvan just takes things in his stride. He's not hyper.
I think his concentration is on the game, isn't it?
Yeah. He's not thinking about all the amenities. He's just thinking, play football with kids.
Yeah.
Can I then ask, Tina, have you always been interested in football? Because football is a big thing for female in the female world, but not all female. So have you always been interested in football, or is it just something that come along because of the boys?
I used to support a certain club that I can't really mention because my husband won't like me to mention that club. But probably I never really liked watching football. I thought it was boring.
Yes, and that's why I asked the question. You see, because a lot of female do think that.
Yeah,
and male, of course, but more female than male. Yeah.
But Gavin kind of thinks it's boring too. He just watches the highlights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when Pharrell started football, that I like watching the kids play football. I find the kids more appealing to watch.
Just to clarify, I don't find football boring. I just find certain matches. Don't let her. What it is, because even when I was growing up, if certain matches are great, it's great to watch, right? But every fan knows that if you catch a boring game, it's a boring game. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter who you are.
And I get that.
You might pay to go watch the Villa, and it's just not a great game. But then in the week later, you watch the Villa, and it's a great game. So
absolutely,
I find football boring at all. I love football.
It varies. It varies a lot.
Passion outside of my creativity and whatever. But you catch a bad game. You catch a bad game.
Yeah, and that's life. That's life. That's how it goes.
Yes,
Football was one of the first things that came up when I met Gavin.
Yeah.
We had to make sure that I switched clubs and started to support Spurs.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have got the ring then?
I don't know about that.
Two can't walk together unless they agree, right?
Sorry?
Two can't walk together unless they agree, right? We had to agree on
he's kind of
things.
lucky that I wasn't bothered about football. So, I was supporting his rival, so
yeah. So
imagine if I was a die-hard football person.
Yeah. That would be another thing, right? Another thing. So great. So you then at that age 6 went up to Wolves, and that meeting after that, it was like more or less a done deal.
No, it wasn't a done deal because it was.
We were still flirting with
we still went to other clubs. It's just they left the biggest impression on us.
That was the one that we liked the most. The energy, just everything about it was just, it felt right.
Yeah.
But we still did want him to have the experience of other clubs.
Yes.
Him getting to train pretty much every day, apart from like a day or two, was good. And it's the experience for him as well. And then we knew at one point we were going to have to choose. So it was good to go to these different clubs, and they all wanted him. They all wanted Trayvan, so we had to take it quite serious.
So the idea was, the psychology was, I wanted all the clubs to know about him, that in the future they always remember him. That was it's just marketing.
Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of kids don't make it, not because they're not good enough. It's because clubs don't know about them, and they weren't liked in certain other areas. The parents didn't know other coaches in other clubs. Basically, get yourself out there in terms of marketing.
Yes.
In 10 years' time, if the Derby guys are still there, I remember little Trayvan, he was fantastic. Yeah. So that's always important in my mind.
Or they might move to another club that you want to get into.
Yeah, or the coach that loves Trayvan might go somewhere else and bring him. That happens all the time. As you know, it's who you know more than how good you are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To be open.
Yeah.
So what's the progress been since then? You got to a point where you're making some sort of commitment to Wolves, and then progress from there.
To make a decision.
What it is, we wouldn't have decided so quick. Wolves were very pushy about it.
Yeah, they were.
It wasn't us, it was Wolves. They were very dominant when he was under 7.
That's because of what the potential they see in Trayvan. Is that?
But at the same time, that's how they are as a club anyway. They push kids from under 7 to sign. So
I see.
The top, say, 5-6 players in the group, they pushed them all to sign early.
Yeah.
That's just how they are as a club. Whereas other clubs,
pre-contract.
Yeah, whereas other clubs are very relaxed at 7 years old. They're not really bothered about them until they hit 8 years old. Like Villa are very relaxed at under 7s, very relaxed. They will tell you they're not too bothered about the under 7s group. They don't play many matches. They don't push you to sign contracts. At under 8, they start coming.
Yeah.
Very aggressive at under 8. So at this age, they're very aggressive at trying to get kids in and getting them to sign.
And plus, because we were traveling to so many places, you got to think of finances. You got to think of the days that Trayvan's having to play.
Yes.
A toll. And we were like, we can't do this for very much longer.
Yeah.
To make a decision.
Because it was like an hour and a half each way, isn't it? An hour and a half each way from Leicester to Wolves, wasn't it? Just one way.
That's there. Then we had to go Coventry. Then we had to go Derby.
Yeah. Wow.
It was a lot.
Yeah. But it was almost like like Gavin was saying, it's like an investment, isn't it? Where, you don't get something for free. That's good on many occasions. So yeah. So that's all good. So where are we now at? You're fully established in the academy at Wolves. Is that what it is?
Yeah, fully established and been there exactly 2 years and 2 months now. Been traveling to Wolves 2 years and 2 months. Yeah. And he'll be signing in May officially. So
next month he'll be signing.
So they do pre-contracts with kids from 6, 7, 8, which is just a gentleman's agreement that you're going to commit to us, we're going to commit to you. You don't have to keep the agreement. It's just a gentleman's agreement. There's a little bit of paper that says, we want you, or we intend to sign you at the age of 8.5. And that's what they do. But it's not set in stone. So you could just go somewhere else if you want at any time. But it's a moral agreement, you know, it's an emotional thing.
Yes.
We're emotionally tied to that club. And that's what they do. That's what we did. And
yeah. So Trayvan, how do you feel about playing for Aston Villa? I mean Wolves. Wolves Academy. How do you feel about
I
playing?
feel very comfortable with Wolves, and I don't want to leave until 20 or 21. Then I'll go to them.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, if a club like Manchester United or Manchester City or Liverpool was to come up and offer some serious money, you think you'll still stay with Wolves until 2021? Really?
He's not into the money. It's not about money today.
We were learning, when he was 7, we learned this new word called loyalty.
Okay.
I use an analogy of how animals are very loyal and they stick by you. And then one day he just turned around and said to me, Dad, I want to stay at Wolves and I want to be loyal. And I want to stay till I'm 21. So I'm going to Tottenham. So I didn't put that, he just decided that he wanted to be loyal to
that's really good.
When the coaches found out, they were really happy about that, you know. So,
yeah. And I don't understand that actually, because back in my days of chauffeuring my company, I picked up a few some of these players, and one young lad was 11, and he started with, I think it was Birmingham City when he was quite young, and he came to the point where he had to make a decision, and his mother said to me, well, we're going to stay loyal to Birmingham City. Because they just took him in and did a lot for him, and it was really, the mother was so appreciative, because knocking on her door was Manchester City, Man United, Arsenal. They all came and did a demonstration at his home, and she decided to stay loyal to, because of what the club had done for her son, So
but that also happened to us as well. Leicester have been chasing us for a good year and a half. They'd come to the park where we train every week. They'd come down in their car, pull up, trying to entice Trayvan. They'd come for coffee at Starbucks. Villa came to the coffee shop, give me a good hour and a half, 2-hour chat.
Wanting to do the same.
Doing this,
tour.
offering everything that Wolves are offering. They go out their way. They drive an hour and a half to come and see us. Offer to come to our house, have dinner. They did all that. They're giving him free kit when they came to training. They do all sorts. Offer us tickets to the games, go in the box. The coaches at Leicester knew that I had no emotional ties to Leicester. They didn't care. Even the coach at Villa knew I had no emotional ties to Villa. So what they both did, they told me individually they'd get me tickets for the Spurs games at Spurs.
They do what?
They'd get me tickets for the Spurs games at Spurs.
And did they?
They offered it.
If we go there.
As long as we sign for Villa or Leicester, they'll get me tickets for the Spurs games, not the Leicester games. They said, one of our coaches is a big Spurs fan. We will line you up tickets for all the Spurs games, whatever you want, as long as you sign for Leicester. And the Villa guy said the same thing.
And he also brought you into it, Grandad.
Yeah, they also said, they did their research and due diligence, and they said, oh, we know that your family and your dad in particular is a big Villa fan. So let us know whatever games you want to go to, and we'll get you in the box. That's what they said.
So why didn't you tell me that before you make a decision? No, that's great. So in talking about Trayvan and his activities now and this sort of commitment at Wolves, what are the activities per week then, in terms of what you do?
So he does his homeschooling every day, and then he does training pretty much every day. What's the schedule?
Yeah, so we'd either do the homeschooling first, then we'll go and train, or we'll go and train and do the homeschooling.
Right. And on a weekend, I believe he plays matches against other teams.
On Saturdays, he plays matches. And on Wednesdays, he plays matches as well. Wednesdays, he plays against grassroots teams, and Saturdays against academies.
Right. All right. So, and these academies are varied academies from around the countries, I believe?
Yeah, Premier League and Championship clubs, and some League One clubs. That's okay. So,
right.
So they've in the last, they played Man City last week. They played Newcastle, West Ham at St George's Park.
Playing Spurs this
They're
weekend.
playing Spurs again on Saturday. They played Spurs already this season.
Oh, they're easy. They're easy. Anyway,
they played. Yeah. They played Liverpool the week before that.
Okay.
They played Burnley yesterday.
So how do they get on normally in terms of success rate?
It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. Week by week, you don't know what's going to happen. They played Crystal Palace the other day. They got hammered. But then they played Liverpool the week after, and they hammered Liverpool.
Okay.
And they played Man City on the Saturday at St George's, and they drew. They lost and they won.
Right.
They beat West Ham, and they drew. They beat
Arsenal.
They hammered Arsenal.
Yeah.
They drew and lost to Spurs. So it's a very mixed bag. It's a very mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to have. On the day, you don't know how it's going to go, to be honest.
It's also quite a good grounding, isn't it? To say that you're not always going to win and you're not always going to lose. Life, and that's the pattern of life, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
So both of you tend to be there most times, or do you just go to...
I tend to not go to the 2-hour training.
Right.
I'll go to matches.
Right. So, as a part of you going then, there are other mothers, I believe, yeah?
Yes, there are other mothers there, and I actually have a podcast with one of the other mothers called Baller Mums.
So again?
I actually have a podcast with one of the other mums.
Hence my question.
Yeah.
Hence my question. So, how did you come about that then? Developing a podcast?
I was just sat one day because we talk every time that we're at football.
Naturally.
There's like 3 of us that will just chat about our experience and stuff like that. And I was just sat here one day, and it just came to me, why don't I do a podcast about our journey with our boys through the academy and football life? And I presented it to her, and she was up for it, and that's how it started.
So how's that going?
It's going well. It's going well.
Are you up to so many people in there? If so, how many? We're
on Instagram. We've got over 15,000 followers.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
On about episode 12 or something like that. We've not done one recently because she's been not very well and I've not been well.
All right.
So we need to get back into it. But,
so yourself and this other lady, you are the main instigators of this? Is that what you're saying?
Myself and Nadia.
Nadia.
Yeah.
So if I was to invite yourself and Nadia to do a interview about your podcast as a part of the Forgotten Generations, I guess that would be a yes. All right, that could be our next interview then. That's brilliant. Yeah. So Trayvan.
Yeah.
What have you got to ask Grandad then? Any questions?
How do you feel about me not playing for your team?
How do I feel about you not what?
Playing for Aston Villa. Daddy.
Well, naturally, to have your grandson playing for your team would be fantastic. But there is a big but, I understand what you say totally about loyalty. But even before that, I understand that the structure of what you've got as a young boy going to a place like that where you really enjoy being a part of that's more important right now. For you to enjoy doing, and you must enjoy what you do. As a young lad at your age, you must have a great time because that means a lot. So if you're just going to go to a club where, say, Grandad is his team, and for the sake of it, go there and not enjoy it, then that's not going to work. So your interest comes first, is how I see that. Yeah. Yes. Brilliant.
How do you feel about having a grandson that plays?
It's absolutely fantastic because, well, whether you know it or not, I'm, spreading the word as anytime I get the chance to. And also, it's one of the reasons why I'm invited you guys here to tell the story, because then I will promote this on my website and and push it out there. Yeah, and be a part of my YouTube channel and everything. But I have people abroad. I have people, a guy in St. Lucia, he's got 4 boys and they all play football. So this will be going to him, and he just can't believe where we've got to here in terms of where Trayvan's at, you know. So he'll be seeing the video from yesterday once I get that back from Gavin. I was at the match with Trayvan's names being called out and going across on the pitch and all that, and he will be like, wow. So that's definitely going to St. Lucia, which then go further into the Caribbean. I was talking to Gavin's auntie, my sister, this morning in Jamaica, who's a judge, as you know, out there.
Yeah.
And I broke from that conversation telling her that I've got to go straight into interviewing you guys, you know. And I know a lot of people around, so I'm going to be promoting this big time. To have a grandson playing for a Premier Division team or a part of the academy and doing something that he likes so much and you guys love so much and dedicate your time, what more can I ask for?
Yeah.
All I can ask for is blessings really going forward, because you just need luck to go with talent. You need that all the time. Yeah. So that things work out for you. So well done, and congratulations to both of you. And congratulations to Trayvan in
Thank you.
Thank you.
what he does. All right. So any other questions for me? Because I realize now that we gone some out over the hour, and you guys are going to go and do some training as well and all that. Any other questions for me? No. Brilliant. Anything, Gav?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. Well, Trayvan, good luck from here and in the future. I watch you play and I loved it, and I will be bringing your cousin up to play as soon as I can to watch you. Yeah, because I've already promised him that, and we'll come and watch you one of these days very soon to play on a Saturday. All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so look forward to our next interview, Princess Campbell.
Yes.
And that's on the basis of the podcast. All right, guys.
All right. Take care.
Thanks very much. You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.